All right, I've got a Dom ix6sr with interactive element at the end there. You can see there's this little ring that moves back and forward in the key. So that sets a little pin right at the back. Got some holes for passive pins, 5 dimples. You can see key works fine. Put that over there. Gonna pick this thing this way using a clockwise tension. Got an array of tools available here. The main one we want is a multi-pick number 3. So we're going to try and set these dimples. First 1, 2, and under 3, 5. Now, there are a few of these act a little bit tapered, and they act like T-pins. It's like tapered T-pins, so you think you set it, and then you just give a little tap and you get tiny bits more core rotation. Pin 5 is a very annoying spool type deal. So just going through, make sure we've got no normal dimples binding. Okay, I think we've got all of those set for the moment, which means our interactive pin is probably binding. It's a real pain to get because it's like right behind the dimples, but it's tiny. And of course you can't see it, or it's hard to feel. Maybe we got it set then. I'm gonna try a couple other tools down there just to see if we can't feel it as well. Might have got it. Just give the reverse sweeper a go as well. Just poke down there. You can't overset this back one. It sets like on a sidebar, so there's really no harm in just poking all over the joint and hoping for the best. Because you can't stuff it up. You can only have not set it. So I'm going to work under the assumption that we got that. Go back to these dimples. And yep, pin 1 had another little tap now. 5 was another little tap, a bit more core rotation. Alright, that's a counter rotation on 4. Which is cleared out of. Which usually drops a whole bunch of things. So we'll just go over these dimples again. Probably drops that interactive again. It's definitely a lock you need a bit of patience with. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure we dropped that interactive. So let's jam a whole array of tools down there. Hope one of them works. So with this Chinese half diamond, if you sort of line it up, it's sort of seems to do an alright job. Just poke around down there. Don't always get a lot of feedback off it, which, it being hard to find and the lack of feedback, make it a particular pain. Right, I think I can feel that it is loose down there now. Right. A bit more in a 1. Bit more in a 5. Right, we're going to check that interactive again. Again, which one? This pig. Oop. That felt good. Felt like we set that then. Bit of rotation. Oh, we got it. What a pain in the ass. Oh, dom pins. Full of black magic. Oh, shake my hand out. Oh. Oh. Alright. Glad that's over. That little... Yeah. Anyway, let's get those pins out. You can see what I mean. They're just domish. Every dom pin is mildly to significantly evil. Alright. Gutting tools out. First off, let's take this out of the vise. Bring our tray in. A little holder there. Gonna get this C-clip off the back. Already pre-loosened it. Okay. Shut the key in and just twist it a tiny bit that way. Then the clip comes right out. Alright. Shim. Very important. There are a few sort of weird angles where maybe things could get stuck. I'd rather not find out. And crap comes from everywhere. Alright. So I'm just going to start by sliding that in there. Come to that in a minute. Get these drivers out first. All right, shim. Oop, don't completely leave the frame. Yeah. So, got a barrel-y thing. T-pin spoolie thing. Oop. T-pin spoolie thing. 1, 2, 3 springs just to get them out of the way. The problematic T-pin spoolie thing. And then the last barrel type pin. And if I can get it, hello, come on. The last spring. Okay, so here is the barrel. You can see we've got our chambers up there. There is this weird hole that comes through down here and reaches up into that hole over there. And I have no idea what that's for. I can only assume it's for a different kind of dom lock and they're using the same cylinder. Anyway, there's our 5 of those. You can see we've got a sidebar groove down the bottom here. We've got a passive pins bar over here. All right, so that's that. Then you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers. 1, 2 is a torpedo. 3 is a torpedo. 4 standard. 5 standard. Thankfully, the torpedoes don't seem to have a lot of impact on this one because there's so much like T-pin action and stuff that they don't really catch. Though potentially they could. Just line those up, and I'll get all the passive elements and the interactive element out. The right one. Okay, so that's the top of the chamber. There's no overmilling or anything. Big drill protection rod straight up the front. So if we turn around to this side, we've got one passive pin here. Let's see if we can. That one likes to get in the way, so that's passive pin number, let's call it 1. If we turn up the other way, we've got this. This is how that interactive works. So there's this bar that slides this way against that spring. When you push that pin up at the back, which you can maybe see there. There's that pin right at the back. And that comes down and pushes on it like that. It's small, but hopefully that's obvious enough. Yeah. So yes, that like pushes up, which shunts this rod down and across, and then it can turn. And then cleverly, take this rod out. So it's rectangular on the bottom, but slightly curved off the top. Springs attached at the back. Cleverly, the extra passive pins sit under that flush, and there's this pin at the back. So okay, so here's our core, passive pins, that interactive element, holes for more passive pins. There's the keyway. See, not really any warding in there, pretty open. It's got this groove down it here, which is where that interactive part of the key goes. And then when it gets this edge bit here, that's when it gets pushed down and then pushes on that lower pin. Okay, so that's the core. This one here is that interactive pin lined by finger grime. Yeah, so it sits in the keyway like that. Let's put that over there with the sidebar, and then Passive pins are not very exciting. There's just a few of those. They're all exactly the same. So here's our close-up of those pins. So, I'll try not to move this around too much. So you can see you got standard, nice dom, torpedo, torpedo, standard, standard. You got these like barrel type pins, so they're standard-ish. They're a little bit tapered. There's a little bit of a lip on them at the bottom. So they're like T-pins, and then you've got these spools that have got a T-pin type element with just the tiniest little lip on it too, which can catch. That's what was holding me up at the end there, is one of these lips. It was on 3 actually that was giving me the trouble. So this one and this one, just due to key bitting, the spool element of these doesn't come into play, just a T-pin. So it's like 5 T-pins, 4 T-pins, and then this one, which is quite the deep one. So that does come into play. And then you get the spool bit at the end. But at least when you're in a deep false set like that, it's very hard to overset anything. So we just quickly put that in. You can see how far down in the core that one sits. And then with this pin on top, you can see it sits in with plenty of room to slop side to side. That comes up, sets, rests on that lip, and then needs that extra nudge. Compare that to, say, pin 2, that long torpedo in. You can see that's like quite high up. So this, it just sits in the T-pin automatically, so there's no spool action on that one. There you go. So that is the DOM ix5, I think I said ix6 earlier, ix5, ix6, SR. That's the interactive one. It's one of them. Anyway, DOM.